Debt is not bad. It's a strong statement I commence with so that it can soak in. Debt is not bad. Debt is very, very good for those who know how to leverage with debt. In business, most people, or generally in life, most people that are super wealthy are first generation millionaires or billionaires, which means that they did not come from wealth, they build their wealth themselves. Like they will say, self-made, although nobody is self-made because God made all of us and whatever we have is coming from Him. So most of them have used debt and have used debt for their advantage, and it's working for them and continues to work for everybody. So it is wrong for you to think that debt is bad. There are two types of debt, and I'll differentiate which is good and which is bad. But before I proceed, don't go ahead and abuse debt. Don't just use this, watch this video to the end so that you get to understand which kind of debt is good for you and which is not good for you, because not all debt as well is good. When you hear debt, there are two types. There is a good and a bad. So you need to know which is good for you, which is bad for you, right? And you have to know as well have an overall picture of good debt and bad debt, so you can decide for yourself if you want to use debt or you want to continue in that mediocre level that you find yourself. Now, before I proceed, do well to hit the red subscription button, thumbs up this video, like, share, and also comment. Please watch my videos to the end, because there are some things I will say, practical steps that you can use to get you to a point that you want to get to, that may come at the end of the video, because most of my videos are things that are working for me. So as I keep speaking, it flows. So it keeps getting better and better as I continue to explain things. Now, there are two types of debts: good debt and bad debt. What is good debt then? First, good debt is debt that does not hurt you. Debt that does not meet any form of pressure on you. Debt that does not have a very high interest rate assigned to it. Debt that gives you time to breathe and gives you space to be able to generate that money and be able to pay. Because debt is basically taking somebody else's money to use for your projects and give it back to that person. So it's like you are a temporary keeper of somebody's money. You have to give it back. So when that person is coming back to collect, the time within which the person has given you and when the person is coming to collect matters for you to qualify it as a good debt or a bad debt. Secondly, a good debt is such that it doesn't have a lot of interest assigned to it. Good debts don't have too much interest on them, because when the interest becomes too much, it's difficult for you to meet up to pay the debt and pay the interest assigned to it. Also, good debt is that debt that gives you a long period, as I said, for you to pay back the money. So you have ample time. If it's a business that is not moving or is kickstarting and the clients are not forthcoming, you have ample time to make even the mistakes, correct yourself, and plow in the money again and use, and that's good debt. That is good debt. It has a long period for you to pay back and it has less interest assigned to it. Now, what is the opposite of good debt? Bad debt. Bad debt has very high and huge interest assigned to it. Bad debt as well has a very short space of time to pay it back. So if you're starting a business and that business is making For example, 500,000, 500,000 a month, and you have a debt of 1 million francs. That comes with an interest rate of 200,000, right? That debt of 1 million francs with an interest rate of 200,000, it means you're giving 1,200,000, and you have this business that brings in 500,000. Is the beginning, maybe the first 2 months you had. Now it's the 10 month, and maybe it's rainy season and the clients are not forthcoming and all of that. And you have taken that debt within that period so that you can boost your business and all of that. And now this third month, you discover that you are not making up to that amount. You are making maybe 100,000 because the clients are not coming, the season and all of that. And you have to pay that debt of 1,500,000. When you were taking it, you knew that you make 500,000. And if you make that 500,000 in 2 months, you have 1 million. The 10 months, you have 1,500,000. So even if you're giving 1,200,000, you know that you still have 300 as your own profit from that money. Now, you have taken the debt and the business becomes slow. But the time frame for you to pay back that money is just that 3 months. It still stands. How are you going to do that mathematics? It's not going to be possible. So you see that kind of debt is bad debt. It's that kind of debt that, because the time is very, very short, you see people start going up and down. They are going to law, they are going to this and all of that because the time is short. So if you're going in for debt and you want to leverage with debt, make sure you take debt that gives you ample time to use that money and generate that money back, generate the interest, because debt should be able to work for itself and generate itself and give you interest because you are the one working. So you should be paid, right? That's the own benefit that you make from the money for multiplying somebody else's money, because it's their money, you have to give them back. So what's your benefit? Is the interest you have after you have paid the debt and paid the interest. So take debts that you want to use for business purposes. Let it have a longer duration of payment. Now we'll talk about interest rates. There are debts that have 30% interest rates, and you have to pay within a very short period of time. That one is a no, 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 no. Don't even dare it, because they will remove your shoes somewhere. This kind of debts that you have a debt of 1 million francs and you have to pay 300,000, and you have to pay 300,000 every month for 6 months. Lord Jesus. In fact, at the end of the day, even the money that you have will be sucked up by the person who gave you the debt. So if you're watching me right now and you want your business to expand, you can leverage with debt. But please don't take a debt that has a very short period to repay and a debt with a very high interest rate. Be careful when you go to use debt. But overall, debt helps to push your business forward. Love you all so much. And keep this in mind. Debt is good if you know how to use it and know where to get it from. Love you all so much, and keep moving and keep expanding.